This is Russell Copeland, former NFL vet for the Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles, and Green Bay Packers. And today I'm going to talk about how the Dallas Cowboys were not able to win on the road against the San Francisco 49ers, losing 19-12 to the Niners, which is the second consecutive year that they have lost to the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm going to start with your quarterback, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, I think, is a good quarterback. But the questions now remain, is Dak Prescott the quarterback that can lead you to playoff victories, divisional round victories, lead your team to the NFC Championship game, and have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl? I think after watching the game yesterday, after watching how Dak Prescott played this year, I think the answer to that question is no. This season here, Dak Prescott had the worst interception ratio of his career. He has 15 interceptions. And I think what made Dak Prescott a good quarterback is that he was able to protect the football. He was able to understand what defenses were doing, and he was able to exploit those defenses. But he has not been able to do that. He has regressed in that area. This past season, he had multiple games, multiple games of 2 interceptions or more. Yesterday, he had 2 interceptions. Those interceptions led to 6 points by the opposition, and the opposition was the San Francisco 49ers. You cannot play that type of football at the quarterback position in the playoffs and expect to win the game. We see how Dak Prescott played a couple of weeks ago against the Commanders, the last game of the season. He did not play very well. We have seen him have lapses throughout the season, not playing well, throwing a lot of interceptions. He had 11 interceptions since Thanksgiving. That's not playing winning football. Yes, Dak Prescott had a really good game last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were not playing complementary football offensively and defensively. Their offense is one of the worst offenses in the National Football League. You have the GOAT, but he's 45 years of age. So your defense was able to exploit them, giving you the football back on the short side of the field. You had a good game. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 8-9. They had the worst record going into the playoffs. They were the only team into the playoffs that had a losing record. So now it's time for you to implant your legacy. When you get into big playoff games, when you get into the divisional round, when you get into the conference championship, it's time for quarterbacks to implant their legacy, franchises to implant their legacy, and coaches to implant their legacies. And throughout the football season this year, overall, the totality of this season, Dak Prescott, 15 interceptions. He missed 5 games. He became the first quarterback in history of the National Football League to lead or tie the league in interceptions after missing 5 or more games. And now Dak Prescott is 0-3 in the divisional rounds. He's 2-4 in the playoffs. Yesterday, he finished with 206 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, with a 51.5 QBR rating, quarterback rating. That's not good. And Jerry Jones did not pay Dak Prescott to be average or below average. He paid him $40 million to excel. And let's look at Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones was hesitant to make Dak Prescott the face of the franchise. Even though Tony Romo was injured and he was toward the end of his career, he was hesitant. He was hesitant to pay Dak Prescott the $40 million that he paid him, even though I felt like that it was his time to renegotiate. I think he had played well enough to be able to get it. That's where the market was. But I think if you look at Jerry Jones, that's why he was hesitant to pay Dak Prescott. I now put Dak Prescott with Kirk Cousins and Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they can get you to the playoffs, but when you put the bright lights on them and it's a big game, I don't think they can lead you to those big games that you need in the playoffs. And now there's more questions than answers for the Dallas Cowboys. And you have to start at the top. Is Coach Mike McCarthy the coach? I think he is. If you look at what Coach Mike McCarthy has done the past couple of seasons, he's 12-5 this year. He was 12-5 last year. That's 2 consecutive playoff appearances. I think that's relatively good. Well, let's go to your offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. Is Kellen Moore the offensive coordinator that can get Dak Prescott to playing at a high level? Can he get him to play at a high level? I look at adjustments being made. Tony Pollard goes down. He's probably number one or number two, the most explosive player for the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard goes down. So now looking at the adjustments that Kellen Moore is going to make. I didn't see many adjustments. I saw the San Francisco 49ers make the adjustments. They made the adjustments and they were going to allow CeeDee Lamb to either catch the football and they were going to punish him when he caught the football, or they was going to bracket him and see if Dak Prescott could be able to find the open man. He was not able to find the open man. So either Kellen Moore did not make the adjustments or he gave the adjustments to Dak Prescott and he was not able to carry it out. And now I have to look at Sean Payton. Sean Payton is out looking for a job. He's out looking for the right situation to become a head coach. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He works very well with quarterbacks. You see what he was able to take the talent of Drew Brees. You saw what he was able to do with Winston. Winston threw a lot of interceptions. He made Jameis Winston a better quarterback. I think that he could elevate the play of Dak Prescott. But there's an asterisk because he says that he wants to be able to have some control within the organization. Well, we know who controls the Dallas Cowboys. That's Jerry Jones. He's the spokesperson, he's the general manager, and he's the owner. Is Jerry Jones ready to relinquish some of that power that he has to give it to a coach such as Sean Payton? Because Jerry Jones is 80 years old and time is running out and he wants to win another championship. That's a big question. Would he be willing to move on from Coach Mike McCarthy and relinquish some of his power to give it to Sean Payton? Now I'm going to throw a wrinkle. I'm going to propose a trade. Will the Dallas Cowboys be willing to come up with a package to trade Dak Prescott for Aaron Rodgers? Will the Green Bay Packers be willing to either, with that trade, with a couple of other teams, to move on from Jordan Love, their first-round quarterback from a few years ago, and trade Aaron Rodgers? And Dak Prescott can either be traded there or either within a team go somewhere that he would say that it's okay for him to go? Is that possible? Is that plausible? Is that probable? I think it's possible. I don't know if it's probable because I understand that teams do not want to trade within the conference, do not want to trade within the division, but it is plausible because the Houston Texans were willing to move on from Deshaun Watson. And the Cleveland Browns, despite of Deshaun Watson having all the legal issues that he had, they traded for him. They came up with a package for the Texans. They got some draft picks, and they rewarded Deshaun Watson $230 million, a fully guaranteed contract. Now, you see the same thing that happened in the NFC with the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams. Same conference. The LA Rams were able to come up with a package with the Detroit Lions to get Matthew Stafford, and they traded off their young superstar quarterback in Jared Goff, who had led them to a Super Bowl. So it is plausible. I don't know if it's probable, but just something that's on the table because Coach Mike McCarthy won a championship with Aaron Rodgers. And could you see Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys? It's enough for you to really think about. Is that on the table? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there at you because it's a long offseason for the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered for the Dallas Cowboys. And right now, there's not a solution. There's not a lot of answers. And the way they played yesterday and the way Dak Prescott played the entire season, especially in the big game yesterday, you have to question, is he the quarterback for the future of this franchise? Again, this is Russell Copeland, former NFL vet for the Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles, and Green Bay Packers. Please continue to tune in. Thank you. Hit the like button and subscribe.